जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रजन रांजन यशोदनंदन व्रजन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी यमुना तीरवनचारी यमुना तीरवनचारी यमुना जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरि जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवाजकाचार्य अष्टोरसत श्रीमदे अभय चरणाविंद ऐसी भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य शिला हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। assembled गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to the assembled deities. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled deities. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled deities. Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada की जय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
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 So we are reading. Drabla Prabhu is not well, so we continue his work and reading daily. Hopefully he get well soon and join us here. So yesterday we read from chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, of text number 23. Content of Gita summarized. It should be the page number 91 in your book. So we'll read text number 24, and then we'll read Prabhupada's translation, purport, and discuss something, and then we move on next verse and read together. So the way we can do is, I'll say one part and then you can repeat after me, and then you can also do yourself. Akshedoyam adyoyam
अच्छेयोदम आद्योयम
akhaledyo ashashyo evacha
अकलेद्यो शशयो एव च
nitya sarvagata sthanur
नित्य सर्वगता स्थानुर्
achalayam sanatanaha
अचलायं सनातनः
akshedoyam adyoyam
अच्छेदोयम् अद्योयम्
akhiledo asosya evacha
अखलेद्यो अशोष्य एव च
nitya sarvagata sthanur
नित्य सर्वगता स्थानुर्
achalo ayam sanatanaha
अचलोऽयं सनातनः
akshedoam adyoyam
अच्छेदोऽयम् अधायोऽयम्
akhiledyo asosya evacha
अखलेद्यो अशोषेव च
nitya sarvagata sthanur
नित्य सर्वगता स्थानुर्
achalo yam sanatanaha.
अचलोऽयं सनातनः
Yes, so now all of you can read. You can try. Yeah, please go ahead. Don't worry. Yeah. Yeah, please read. You can read yourself and we repeat after you.
Yeah, okay. Where should I start?
Yeah, under Sanskrit, it should be written here.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is English, basically.
Okay, gotcha. So, I'll be honest, it's a little difficult for me.
You can try one by word. You just read one word. You just go ahead and read. The akshedo, whatever you want to say, like you can say. Yeah.
Achedeo yam adam
Yum. Yes.
Yeah, very nice.
Please go ahead. Yeah. You can complete full. Yes. Yeah.
And I'll work on this too.
Yes.
Nitya Sarva Gata Stanu
Yes.
Akalo Yam Sanatana.
Yes. Perfect. Wonderful. You read one verse. You want to read?
Achedyoyam adayoyam
Akshedoyam adhayoyam
अखलेद्यो अशोष्येव च
akaledo ashosya evacha
नित्य सर्वगता स्थानुर्
Nitya sarvagata sthanur
Achuloyam sanatanaha.
achaloyam sanatanaha. Want to read, Prabhu? Akshedoyam atayoyam akledyo shoshevacha nitya sarvagata sthanur achaloyam sanatanaha. Okay, so now we will read below that. You see the word by word meaning, each word what is the meaning in English. Akshedo, you can repeat after me. Akshedo, unbreakable.
Unbreakable.
I am
I am
this soul.
this soul.
Adhayaha,
Ayaha.
unable to be burned.
Unable to be burned.
I am
I am
this soul.
this soul.
Akhaledya,
Akhaledya.
insoluble.
Insoluble.
Ashosyaha,
Shosyaha.
not able to be dried.
Not able to be dried.
Eva,
Eva.
certainly.
Certainly.
Cha,
Cha.
and. Nitya,
Nitya.
everlasting.
Everlasting.
Sarvagataha,
Sarvagataha.
all pervading.
All pervading.
Asthanahu,
Asthanahu.
unchangeable.
Unchangeable.
Achalaha,
Achalaha.
immovable.
Immovable.
I am
I am
this soul.
this soul.
Shanatanaha,
Sanatanaha.
eternally the same.
Eternally the same.
Translation by and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble, and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. Anybody want to repeat? Read. Okay. Yes.
This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble
Hare Krishna.
and can neither be burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same.
Thank you. You want to read? Yeah.
This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble. It can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same.
Anyone else? You want to read? Prabhu, you want to read? This is page number 92. Should be in your book. Yeah.
This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble, and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same.
Thank you, Prabhu. So I'll read the purport. All these qualifications of the atomic soul definitely proves that individual soul is eternally the atomic particle of the spirit whole, and remains the same atom eternally without change. The theory of monism is very difficult to apply in this case because the individual soul is never expected to become one homogeneously. After liberation from the material contamination, the atomic soul may prefer to remain as a spiritual spark in the effulgent rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the intelligent soul enters into the spiritual planet to associate with the Personality of Godhead. The word Sarvagata, all pervading, is significant because there is no doubt that the living entities are all over God's creation. They live on the land, in the water, in the air, within the earth, and even within the fire. The belief that they are sterilized in the fire is not acceptable because it is clearly stated here that their soul cannot be burned by fire. Therefore, there is no doubt that there are living entities also in the sun planet with suitable bodies to live there. If the sun glows is uninhabited, then the word Sarvagata, living everywhere, becomes meaningless. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chachurupurmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadayamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Bandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnanscha Sri Rupam Sakrajatam Sakra Lalitam Tam Tam Sajivam Shadvaitam Shavadutam Parijana Shahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padana Sri Galalita Sri Visakhantascha Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim tav kripatamaham vande Sri Guru Dintarnim Vangsha kalptarubhasya kripa sindhivyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavyo namo namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktapin. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So thank you so much for coming into the class today. And welcome everyone. Even there are people on the YouTube and Zoom. Sometimes people join. So today's verse, text number 24 of Bhagavad Gita, as it is, chat title is Content of the Gita Summarized. So Krishna, little bit background for, I think most of people Are you new to the Bhagavad Gita for this, or you read?
I read 300 pages roughly, and it was so amazing.
Okay.
That
You want to read more?
exactly.
Okay. So that just reason I'm asking, then I can decide how much to go deeper, how much to give background. So this is the situation here. For everyone, let's repeat the situation and why this thing came up here, right? Discussion. So the Arjuna was one of the warrior, and he was in situation to fight with his own kingsmen. Like sometimes we are in situation to face with something we don't want to face. And then he decides ultimately in chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita, you'll see that, or beginning of chapter 2, that Krishna, I don't want to fight. And he just gave up. Like sometimes we gave up. Things don't go good in life, and then we think, everything is going around. And we have challenge in job, challenge in, life, challenge in relationship, everywhere. And then things feel like similarly dark from all sides, though we may be in sunlight. But internally we feel a lot of darkness, and that's what Arjuna was in, this darkness of he don't wanted to kill anyone for the sake of selfish victory of his own opulence. So if he kills, Vedic time, if you fight and you conquer, nowadays also, like you have wars going on across the world. So what is going on? People are displaying their weaponry and power to other countries, in between countries, and they are trying to control the land. And if you control the land, you control the people, and that's how you control the whole, the whole controlling ability, tendencies are were there earlier and now also. But he was a pious person, nice person. He don't wanted to do that, especially for gaining some money, power, land. He don't want to do that. But if he doesn't do it, then the opposing party was about to kill him. Because then if he doesn't do good, then the bad people will kill good people, and then the bad people will rule. So where the good people gonna survive, right? It's like if there is a small town, and if the bad people take it over, then the all good people suffer. And why? Because the good people didn't defend them. They just remain silent. So silence is not a good thing many times. We have to speak up, we have to defend, at least not harm anyone, but defend ourselves. Protect our life, right? That's what we try to do in life. But this was different situation of live or die, because in war, essentially you're gonna it's not like, okay, little harm or something, it just kill people, kill animals, because at that time, war was fought, they did not had this, war was fought between the rulers. It's not the rulers were sitting in a room and they were controlling on computer, or some army people were going to fight in the front. During the war, the kings and the warriors has to be in the battlefield. Nowadays, no president wants to go into battlefield and fight. They want to stay back and then keep on sending troops, and they get killed, they kill each other through the weapons, and then president remain president forever. They lose it, they gain it, whatever, right? But that time, no. Arjuna was a warrior, and he had all the they were 5 brothers, and they have to be in the battlefield. Another party has 100 brothers, 100. So fight was between 100 and 5. One side has 100, other side has 5 leaders. And then 100, of course, from outside you will see it was sure that they are going to win, because they have more people, more leaders to take care of army. They had just 5, and they had army from other part of the world, and it was a world war. It was not a small war, this Bhagavad Gita. If you see the front, this is a war situation where Krishna is in the chariot and with Arjuna. So Arjuna gave up, and then now what to do? Krishna's job was, Krishna wanted this to happen because, as I said, he wanted good people to rule, so that there is a prevailing goodness. He doesn't want ignorant people to rule, otherwise they will further disturb everyone. So that was he wanted to establish dharma. And now this is the situation Krishna started explaining. If you start, go back, then I started explaining Arjuna why you should fight, because Arjuna gave a lot of reason not to fight. Sometimes we have in life a lot of reason not to do things, right? Something very impossible, then mind gives so many reasons for not required to be done. But there could be just one reason to do good things. You don't need 100 reasons to do something good. Maybe just one reason to do good, but there could be, 100 reasons for not doing good. Because, I'm not capable, I cannot do it. How does it matter one person doing good, 100 people doing wrong? What difference I'm going to make in this world? Just being one person, nothing, right? So that's what his situation was, that more of compassion. Sometimes you're just compassionate. You don't want to do bad to anyone just because I want to be happy. So that's what Arjuna. So here in this verse, we are talking from last couple of verses, it says about the soul. And Prabhupada writing in the purport. Now, how many of you believe there is a soul?
I know there's a soul.
There is a soul.
Absolutely.
And this verse, it says in 23, 24, right? If you go 23, that the soul can never be cut into pieces by any weapon, not burned by fire, nor moistened by water, not weathered by the wind. And then next verse says, this individual soul is unbreakable. Essentially, it's the same thing, right? If you unbreakable, insoluble, and can never be, neither be burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, unmovable, immovable, and eternally the same. So he's saying that you cannot basically kill the soul. That's what he's saying, that nobody can kill the soul. But why? That's the question. Like, why soul cannot be killed? Like, soul is there in the body, and this verse is saying that you can't kill the soul by fire. You cannot, drown in water. You cannot, break it by any knife or anything, and it doesn't change, and it remains as it is. Even the body dies, but the soul. Suppose if you shoot me now, you cannot kill my soul. But why? Why is like that?
The soul has no beginning nor end, therefore it's eternal.
Yes. But especially here we are talking about act of destroying the soul. The why soul cannot be destroyed by all of these things explained just now, right? Whether it's weapon, fire, water, or wind.
Not material.
Okay.
So whatever we can do destruction with material things.
Yes.
So
Yes.
soul is it doesn't belong to this world.
Yes.
It belongs to the spiritual world.
Yes, very important. Thank you. Yeah, that's so we know the nature of the soul is spiritual, and the nature of this world is material. Now, if I say that right now we are sitting in this room and there are so many radio waves moving around, like our phone tower, this wireless network, Bluetooth network, and all waves are moving. That's how we are communicated, right? Like, we cannot see it, but there are phone network, radio frequencies, everything is moving here right now. We are full of network. Like, if you see the fiction movies, they show like that, right? Everything is like networked, and we cannot perceive it because we have a limitation of seeing things. We can see in certain wavelength, right? We can hear in certain frequencies, and we can perceive in certain limits. Our eyes can see certain distance, right?
Whatever is reflected by
Yeah.
we can see.
But there are other animals who can perceive, like the owl can see in night, and birds can perceive microwave frequencies, like beyond frequencies what we can perceive. They nowadays research going on, like these all radio waves and internet networks or mobile towers affecting the birds' migration, because they use their telescopic vision and all these to migrate from different distance, and because of these waves they are not able to migrate because it affects them, right? So similarly, the soul here is if you read the purport, atomic soul definitely proves that the individual soul is eternally the same. Now, is this verse Prabhupada saying soul is atomic? Atomic, right? Atomic means atom.
Is it atomic material?
No. So yes, you can say, we also in science we are taught that atom is the basic unit for anything, right? Atomic theory, Dalton atomic theory, and there are so many. That's the basics of science. Like start with atom and goes on to molecule, to the micromolecules, and goes on. Exactly. Yeah. So it's if we go on reading that further, it says it's atomic in nature. It's a size. It's about the size. Like if you explain the size, right? I can say that it's further going on to say it's not material, because material is something like conditioned. In spiritual sense, the material means that material life, material manifestation, all that is something which doesn't have a spirit, like consciousness. That's how we define material. Like this phone itself doesn't have any consciousness. It cannot act on its own behalf, right? Because it doesn't have its own ability to perceive, to reflect, and to do things. Like my body, if I remove the soul out of this, then what remains here? Like somebody dies, what has changed?
So basically living and non-living.
Right? Somebody dies, what has changed during death? Death is the process of just soul goes away from a body, right? That we know. There is something which has went away. Let's look at that way, right? Basics. So what is that something has went away? Chemically the body is same, right? It doesn't change anything. Everything is same, right? But there is something which was not material or chemical in the body which has moved on, right? We cannot see it because it's atomic, because our eyes cannot see atomic things, right? There were some scientists, they wanted to capture the soul. So what they did is they designed a glass, right? Somebody was to die, and they thought, because there is something goes out of the body at the time of death, right? There is something which goes out, right? Somebody says it's air supply, somebody says it's energy, somebody says light, somebody says, soul, there are different definitions, right? So they designed a very, it's like a vacuum jar. And kind of before the person almost about to die, they put into that container, and let's see if where the soul goes, because you don't want to, you're trying to control whatever leaves the body at the time of death.
So that's evil,
That was an experiment just to see if they can capture the soul. It's not that commonly done, but they just, scientists, they are crazy. I'm also a scientist. I work as a scientist. So that was a experiment they wanted to do, to see.
For sharing that with us.
Yeah, you can search on Google. It's a famous experiment. And what happened, at the time a person loses the consciousness, the soul goes on from the body, it stops. All the medical parameters went down, heartbeat, no blood pressure, everything goes flat.
So
And
is there any sort of way you can save this soul?
you can save the soul like we save things in life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what. So they were trying to, that if we can force soul to re-enter in the body, then you can have eternal life, right? Because you don't want to leave.
Because wouldn't soul to be saved. So there has to be a way.
Save means store or save means to protect. I mean, there are two meaning.
Well, I'm talking in the sense of, you said, you know, the evil stuff we were talking about just a second ago. To save that soul.
Yes. Yeah, I'll come to that. So what happened there? So after death, what happened? You know, they were trying to control, but there was a break in the glass. After that, and the soul. It was a vacuum, and it break, and it went away. You can't control because the soul is atomic, and even the best of the glasses, you cannot control, right? Even we cannot control the air. What about something which we can perceive? The soul went away. Soul, you cannot control it because you cannot. He says you cannot. It's everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, eternally the same. Right now, coming to the saving the soul somewhere, and then, so what happens? Here it's explained here. There are different people believe in monism. Some people say that when after death, soul goes and merges into Paramatma, like it goes and merges into super soul. There are some philosophies, people believe in that. What Bhagavad Gita says and what Krishna says, that soul remains as an individual, even if it goes from this body to the spiritual world. And it remains as an individual, as a spiritual spark, if you see in the fourth line here. So there are two kinds of soul. He says, after liberation from material contamination, the atomic soul may prefer to remain as a spiritual spark in the effulgent rays, right, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But intelligent souls enters into the spiritual planet to associate with the Personality of Godhead. So there are two categories of souls. One category of souls who wants to just merge into super soul, effulgence, the effulgent rays, what we call. If you read about Vedic knowledge and all, there are more detail about what it is, right? But there are category of soul, intelligent souls. It says they don't want to merge with something because then nobody wants to lose identity, right? Identity is such a close thing with us, right? I don't want to lose my identity because this is so personal. I want to do something. I just don't want to merge into wall or some light or something. What is the meaning of that, right? What I will do in there? There is nothing. There is no movement, nothing. Just merged over. My identity is gone. Then where is I am once I get merged, right? Yeah. So intelligent people, they don't want to remain individual. Why? So that I can have relationship, right? If I don't have identity, then what relationship I may have any of you, right? No value of anything, right? Right, meaningless. So in a spiritual world, there is a relationship. Now, to have individuality, we need to have a form, right? I cannot say that I am individual, but I don't have any form, right? Individual, I say individual means there should be person should have some form, some activity, something should happen, and to have a relationship as an individual with anyone out there, right? Individual relationship also need a form. Without form, we cannot do anything, right? So it says, further goes and say, with the form, so it's all pervading, right? Significant here that there is no doubt that living entities are all over the God's creation. Now science says, very important point here, we have been taught, if you see in our science book, that as the science has progressed over last 100 years or something, right? More and more technological advancement. Earlier people used to say when there was no sterilization, like Pasteur time, when the first time pandemic happened and then people have rabies or cholera, people have no idea about there is microbes. There was no concept of microbes because they did not have the tools and technique to observe under microscope and see there is something which you cannot see by naked eyes, but you can see under microscope. And once they saw it, they start believing that there is some things like microbes like bacteria, fungus, viruses, like COVID. A lot of people did not believe there is a COVID because they cannot see it. They want to see it if it is COVID, right? Because we can only see the impact of COVID in the body, but we cannot literally see with the eyes, this is COVID in my body, right? But we see the impact. Once it infects, then we have throat problem, lung problem. A lot of people die also because of they died almost. Every neighbor has someone passing away in all over part of the world. Millions of people died within 2-3 years, right? And then people say that viruses are non-living, right? People say that it's a scientific, it's like a theory that there is viruses are linked between living and non-living. It's not living, but at the same time living, right? That's what they say in science, basic science, right? So viruses can have impact on the body. We all know it, but we cannot see it, right? It's all pervading. There is viruses moving everywhere. Every body has a lot of microbes. Nowadays, it's called microbes theory. Like our gut has certain microbes which is good for. Like you take kombucha or those prebiotics. What is that? Prebiotics they sell. It's the concentrated microbes, beneficial microbes we drink, so that our stomach have good microbes which can help us digest the food, right? And not allowed to have stomach cancer or other diseases. That's why people take prebiotics, kombucha, and there are so many prebiotics in every variety, like yogurt, milk, all kind of prebiotics nowadays, right? Why? They are microbes, right? And which means the living body, in our own body itself, if you take one sampling, just take one swab from my body, you will find millions of organisms. And each of those organisms have a soul. That's why they're conscious. They can act. They can do something, right? So here is saying, and then every dust particle you will take, and you can chemically analyze and biologically see that there are millions and millions of living organisms with the body, which we cannot see, but under the microscope, scientists can see it. They can perceive it, right? They do research to find out that which we cannot see it. Some disease, some microbe infecting, having disease, something happening in the body. So we believe in that all of us can agree that living organisms are everywhere, in different forms, different places, including here it says within the fire. Now we sterilize things, right? We sterilize things. So how can in fire can burn things? We know, right? Like in everything being sterilized with the fire. Even why we cook food? There are two reasons. One, it becomes palatable in our belly. We can digest it better. Other, it's all the food heating sterilizes any of the harmful microbes, bad bacteria, fungi, anything goes away, right? That too proper. And with the spices you get better taste. Like you mix up things and you have nice taste varieties, right? So fire, it says that even within the fire or sun planet, there is organism, right? This seems very weird, right? If you say nowadays also, like a lot of group of people, they don't believe that there in a fire there could be microorganisms, right? Because so high temperature you can't sustain a body. But if you search on Google, there is something called thermophilic bacteria, and they have analyzed the sample of lava from volcanoes. Volcanoes lava is the highest temperature on the planet.
They can only survive in that temperature.
Exactly. So they have detected bacteria who survive, living organisms survive in the lava of the volcano. Right? It's just weird. Like, how can? In this world, I mean, we are talking on this planet. You can go to Hawaii, take the lava sample, and you can find the microorganisms, living entities there. Why they can survive? Because their body is made up of fire, right? Like fishes, if I want to have certain type of body and I want to live in certain conditions, right? So then my body has to adapt to that environment to be able to survive, right? For example, if I want to go to Everest now, right? I can go, but my body may not be ready. I have to train my body, right? Right? We have to go to some Serapa, get some training of the cold weather, high pressure, temperature, high, the oxygen level goes down at higher levels, right? for us it may be very challenging, but somebody born on the Everest areas, on the hilly areas, they can easily survive because they have born there, they have lived their life, their body is adapted already, and they can live there. For us, we have to get a lot of training, and after that also we may have trouble living more than few weeks, but they are living from many years there. There are people, Sherpas and all those people, right? Yeah? Of course they like it. They like it because that's their hometown. It's like they're grown up there, they live there, right? Right? So they do like it. That's why they're living there and they're happy there, right? There are research also that people living in mountains and solitary areas, they live a more happier life. Like Bhutan, is the happiness index is topmost. It's a hilly areas. They just live in the mountain. It's like mountain. Bhutan, if you search on Google, it's one of the topmost, highest side, right? And they have very simple life, purely, organic and with different cultures, and they're happy. They're one of the topmost, happiest person on the planet, right? Right? Bhutan is the topmost, one of the first country with fully happy, 100%. They have index and they do it. I mean, nobody happy in this world almost, but based on based on whatever materially people project an index and artificial ways, whatever, But point was what you're saying. To be in fire, I need to have a fire body. This is simple logic. This is nothing science. This is, and if not, like some people, submarines goes into underwater, right? There is no capsule, submarine capsule, where people who will do underwater ocean research, they have certain capsules, certain clothes which can survive under pressure, and they can live for a few months underwater. But for that, how much training they do before they go there? But fishes survive naturally, right? Because they have that body which can adapt to those temperature, pressure, and situation, right? They don't need some artificial arrangement to survive. But us, going and then coming back after we have explored so much. Now it is just 10-15% of the ocean. We have never gone deep to touching the base. We don't know how deeper it is. Pacific is one of the deepest one, right? But on the surface, somebody will say there is no living organism in the ocean. But somebody who has gone deeper down, who knows that there is a huge amount of fishes, actually you will be surprised to know there are more living organisms in the ocean than on this earth.
Oh, wow.
Right? Because 90% is the water.
70.
Sorry, around 70% water, and humans are just point some percent of the living organism on this planet. But we claim that we control everything. But the COVID hit, the virus controlled us. Virus controlled the whole world because it stopped fear. Like everybody is feared of something. You never see it, you never can see it, never perceive it, but you are feared. Why? Because there's the danger of death, right? So similarly, here it says that we know volcanoes and other thing. This world, similarly on the sun planet, there is a living organism and different planetary system. This is a whole discussion. I won't go into detail. But we can learn from this verse that the soul is individual. Individual soul is intelligent one. There are two categories of soul. One is want to merge, other is want to remain individual. And it says, Prabhupada saying, intelligent one are more individual one, and then and people want to merge. They really don't know what gonna do. And soul is everywhere. It can survive in every atmosphere. Therefore, what is a learning here? In a minute, I'll say. Learning is that we should not worry too much about body. But that's what we do, day in, day out. Worry about body, whether I'm going to be happy, whether I will get food, whether I will get shelter to live somewhere. What if somebody damage me, somebody misuse me, somebody is gonna, harm me. The whole day and night, even I do it, fear of the existence. Existence, like whether I have food, shelter, protection, insurance. The whole insurance industry in the United States is based on fear, because you have a health. Even if I don't have a health problem, I am paying my premium, because I don't know in future if I may have health problem, then I have to pay thousands and thousands of dollars. So that I'm trying to pay some insurance premium now so that I get protected in future. Why? Because I'm feared of something may happen to me, right?
So are you saying fear in this case is
Fear of death means fear of damage to the body, this body, right? Right? This is the main fear in this world. But we read here that we are not body, we are soul, and soul cannot be killed. Soul doesn't die; it's eternal. So if we can just remember this, like create a place card and put on our freezer or somewhere, that I am not this body, I am a spirit soul, eternal soul, and the soul cannot be, like we can just take these two verses translation. Soul can never be cut into pieces by any weapon, so we don't fear, gonna kill me someone, no, because you cannot kill my soul, you can kill my body, right? Nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor weathered by wind. And the second verse, this individual soul is unbreakable, insoluble, neither burned nor dried, everlasting. So everlasting means I don't care if my body is gone, right? Present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. So if we remember these two things, then our fear goes little down. That's the benefit of having Krishna consciousness, having these knowledge, that we don't fear every moment. So that's the benefit of knowing. Krishna consciousness means we know that we believe in Bhagavad Gita. That's one of the things. That's where it starts with. Yeah, of course. Yeah, because you are reading the words of Krishna. What we are reading is words of Krishna. Krishna consciousness means remembering Krishna and never forgetting Krishna. One thing is to remember, but sometimes maybe forget, right? Then Prabhupada said, yes. So that's he spoke this message, this whole philosophy, and he further will. If we just learn from Bhagavad Gita his message, then it's like if I read your book, you wrote some book, nice book, right? If I read it, then I am taking your consciousness, right? I'm taking, you wrote you put your ideas, all your philosophy in a book, and it's a nice book. It's very important. Taking means if I'm reading and I'm applying in my life, right? Taking literally means it's not like learning and then applying. That's in a sense taking it. Like if you give a suggestion, I take it. What does it mean? I hear it and I apply. I give thought to that suggestion, that message, right? Right. Suppose if I say, Arjun, can you give me this suggestion? And he gives a suggestion. I take that suggestion. I just hear and don't do anything. That's not taking. But if I hear it and I apply, I give a thought on that, act on it, then I'm taking it. Otherwise, I'm just, entertaining and then going away. Doesn't matter. Yeah. So if I take that, then I take your ideas. That's your consciousness. You put it in a book. That's what you believe in. That's what you think that is real, right? Because you're putting and nicely putting everything in context.
Everything affects your consciousness.
Yeah. So
This right now,
yeah.
learning something, so your consciousness is being.
Consciousness means what we think, act. Exactly. Yeah. It's like absence.
Like animals, they do have consciousness, but ours is more evolved as
Yeah.
humans.
Yeah.
We can differentiate between good and bad. We can ask questions. We can learn something new, right?
This is why it's so important to hear.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what, when we read this book, we can read every day just one page, just one message every day. It's like 700 messages, and we can spend at most 2 years to get one message every day. And then give a thought on it. Think from, just like Prabhupada has written the meaning of each message below it, like it's called purport, which means what does it mean, these 2-3 lines, what is it, how do we understand it, right? This is the main thing. Because we can have a message, it's like somebody says, it's good thing to be nice person. But what does it mean, right? In one line, it's a good thing that everyone should be nice person. But then how to apply that? How to be a nice person? How to act nicely? That's the purport Prabhupada writes. For any message Krishna gives, Prabhupada is detailing it, that how you can do that. And who can detail? Someone who has done it. Right? So Prabhupada, he did his whole life, and then now he is giving it to us. Because based on acharyas, he is putting all this. So this is really, we should try to remember. It's hard, practically. It's hard because this world is not compatible. We are. I said that we should try to remember, but it is hard to remember because outer world is not compatible with these ideas, right? When we go out, we don't meet nice people. The world is very, very harsh, right? Everything is very, very much, trade and selfishness, and people you're dealing with doesn't have a very right motive, and everybody is trying to fulfill their own desires, and everyone, right? Everyone is trying to do that. Nobody wants to too much help other people, mostly. And even within help, there is a selfish interest of getting back something in future or maybe in present, right? Okay. Right? So, but if we read this and we try to evolve this, one of the way it assimilates well when we read this and it goes in our consciousness is to chant Hare Krishna mantra, because it's something like, if I read, for example, same example, I read your book, you wrote a book, I read your book, I got a message. Now, what would be nice if I can connect with you? And that would be so nice, right? Rather than separately going and reading somewhere, I want to connect with you. Yeah. So, to connect with Krishna, we have Hare Krishna mantra, that one. You see written on Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare.
So, I have a great question.
Yes.
This is a mantra that I used to chant, and I wasn't in the best place. I was in a sad place, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, chanting this mantra, can anything not good happen to you? Bad happen to you? Can anything bad happen by chanting this mantra? Let's say you're not a great person. I think it's a great question.
Yes, yeah. No, please go ahead. Okay, that's a question you have?
Yeah, so if you're not such a great person.
Okay, what does it affects our state of being, whatever we are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was new, I will say based on my experience, because I don't want to generalize everyone, and I work with certain people who help them to chant, so I can say their experience. When we start chanting for the first time, someone very new, and you never chanted this mantra, a lot of people said that, and even I experienced, they get bad dreams. Like their mind get agitated. Like it's really, right? They get bad dreams. They feel like they become more, initially in the beginning, become more restless. Like they feel like something not good. Or then some people were not able to sleep well in the beginning. Right? I know that happened.
Is it even in India?
Everywhere. Why that happened, right? Why that happens? Because, okay.
We have 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, I just. So why that happens, right? It's a long topic, but before we start chanting, we have certain consciousness, right? Certain past experiences.
1% Krishna conscious, right?
Yeah, may not be. I cannot quantify that, but it's a beginning. It's a beginning, right? Just started on a new road, right? Something very different. And our mind is not ready for that. Yeah. Our mind is not ready to surrender to anything, focus on, or we have a focus problem. We have, so many unconscious thoughts going on, which we not even realizing, but suddenly it comes, goes. Every second we have certain number that people have done research that people get that number of, it's in 100 something thoughts. Every ideas comes in brain, goes away, and only few perceive and comes out, right?
65,000 thoughts.
Yeah. So what happens when we put this one chanting Mahamantra? This is spiritual vibration. We agree that sound has an effect on our brain, right? Like we like nice music, nice effect, classical music, nice. But the rock may have like agitation, and our naturally start dancing when we go into rock concert or anything. Nobody's pushing it, but just because of vibration, everybody start jumping and doing nonsense, right? Or whatever they do it, right? Similarly, this vibration is spiritual, and it's like every vibration means a frequency. It's a sound, right? It's a sound. We all agree, right? It's a sound. Quickly, I'll finish. It's a sound. It has a frequency, certain frequency, if you can measure it, right? This 16-word mantra is composed of 3 words, right? Hare, Krishna and Ram. So this has a vibration, and our acharyas and devotees explain that it's a radio frequency. And this vibration directly connects to Krishna, because Krishna can hear this vibration. It's like if I want to call or connect to a radio channel, I have to tune my device to certain frequency, megahertz, to connect to a radio station. Agree? On our car or our phone, I want to dial your number, I need to have your number and dial it, so directly goes to you. It doesn't go to anyone else, right? In this world, sometimes cross calls happen. But this frequency directly connects our vibration, sound, to the Krishna can hear, so we connect directly. Now what happens? The mind has a different interest, right? We can vibrate 100 things, but not everything mind takes. And then minds want to do something else. And we are chanting this mantra and we want to connect to Krishna. And then the conflict happens, internal. It's not external. It's like, yeah. So then, even when we sleep, mind dreams, right? It has different thoughts, we get dreams. Mind works while we are sleeping in the bed. So then mind starts, those bad things get coming out in the beginning. It's like training a dog. How hard when they start training a dog. They have to give reward, punishment, and then, doing the same thing again and again and again. In few months, dog become trains, right? They start moving the tail when they see things jumping, right? So same thing happens. We have to train our mind. In the beginning, gonna be restless, like a dog. In the beginning, not gonna follow everything what you want, But as you go on doing, then become peaceful. But it takes time and effort and faith. Faith is the main thing, right? Faith in the process, not in anyone, but faith in the Hare Krishna mantra chanting. And it works for millions of people all over the world. We have a whole proof. We don't need case studies. You will find many people here itself. You don't have to go anywhere out of this temple. So you can start with the faith, try it, then reject it. That is the science. Scientists, what they do? They have a hypothesis, they try it, fails or pass, based on the experiment and observations, right? We can try mantra in this life. It works, continue, doesn't work, no problem.
So you're saying get the mind right, then chant the mantra.
Mind will be
Chant the mantra becomes automatically right. It's opposite.
Wait, sorry, I was listening to him for a second.
So if we chant the mantra, then it automatically becomes correct. The mind gets tamed like a dog, right? Right.
because we don't know.
Yeah.
Fixing mind has so many processes, but this mantra will fix your mind.
Yeah. Just like meditation, there are so many varieties. This is mantra meditation with a sound vibration. So this helps. Yeah. We can.
The mind is so interesting, it's...
Yeah. We can discuss. I think I have to stop here because we need to move this and they will open the curtain.
8:30.
But it's so interesting discussion we can discuss. Thank you so much everyone for joining, and appreciate your patient hearing, and forgive if I said anything against or irrelevant, illogical, nonsense. You can correct. Purushottama Dasa. I work as a scientist here, so I'll end here. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Bhagavad Gita ki Jai. Hare Krishna.